What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to our August fishing report. Fishing's been really good in Arizona, so I'm going to get really detailed into what I've been seeing out there, what my buddies have been seeing, and how you need to be fishing for these bass as we move through the month of August. Before we go too far, I want to let you all know that this fishing report is brought to you by Hatch Toyota in Cholo, Arizona. They're my go-to for all my vehicle needs. If you guys are in the market for any type of vehicle, give them a chance. They've got, they'll beat anyone's price, and they're just an awesome dealership to work with, actually. So, and one other housekeeping item too. I've got a contest coming up here. I'm going to start doing a lot more contests on this channel, and I've got one that we're starting in this video. So stick around till the end. I'm going to give you guys the details on how to win, but I'm going to kind of discuss all the baits that I'm using this time of year, and I'm going to give away these baits. So one person is going to win the baits that I talk about in today's video. So stick around to the end for that. But anyways, let's dive into this thing. It's been really, it's been really hot. You all know, if you live in Arizona and you're used to the heat, but this summer's been worse than normal. I mean, it's been hot, and it's actually really surprising to me how good the fishing has been. Not all the lakes have been on fire, but some of them have been. And I've got my own theories on maybe why that is, I guess, and I'll talk about that. But overall, it's been a good August. The monsoon activity has really not been that intense. And I talked about it in the last fishing report in July. When you're getting monsoons, they're great for us, right? I mean, it's a break from the heat. I love watching these storms roll in. It's fun. But that fishing the next day is going to suffer usually after a monsoon. It stirs the water up. The bass eat really good before that storm hits, and not always, but more often than not, in my experience, fishing is tougher the day after you get a big monsoon. We haven't been getting these storms, so it's been really consistent, and we're here the first week of August, and looking at the forecast, it doesn't look like there's much brewing in the next week. So on the fishing side, that's good. I mean, I'm sitting here sweating my tail off in the garage. We're all sick of the heat, but fishing's been good, and I'll take it. I'm going to fish a bunch as we roll through the rest of this month, so there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'll be able to talk about moving through the month. But I fished quite a bit the last week or two of July. I've had a lot of buddies in the water, and let's start rolling through this thing. I would say the best fishing that I've seen has been on the Salt River chain. Saguaro's been really good. Canyon's been pumping some fish out. The lower lakes on that Salt River chain have been good for sure. The numbers are great. The quality's great. I had actually posted a video a couple weeks ago. I took my wife to Saguaro just for a couple hours on a busy weekend. But that week leading up to that, we had some awesome days. I mean, we had 20, 30 fish days, caught a bunch of big ones. So good fishing. And I think the fishing is so good on these lower Salt River lakes because of just the amount of water that flowed through the lakes this year. They're really fertile. They obviously had a good spawn a couple years ago, I mean, to see so many 3-pound, 4-pound fish in these lakes right now, they had to have had a good spawn 2, 3, 4 years ago. They did. I mean, they surely did, and the lakes are healthy, so pretty exciting. On those lakes, those fish, I always talk about how those Florida strain fish are super lazy. It's like, it would be fun to go out there and catch a bunch of fish on moving baits, and you can surely do it. I mean, I've caught a lot of big fish cranking and throwing reaction baits at those lakes over the years, but especially this time of year, you got to fish slow. Pardon my dog barking in the back. He's going to ruin my fishing report. I'm in the garage. He's right on the other side, but hopefully you can't all hear him. But anyways, yeah, those fish want to move slow. So, like, if you want to fish slow, you're going to catch more fish. You never know when your next cast is going to be a 7, 8, 9, 10 pounder. Really, I mean, it's honestly any cast on Saguaro and Canyon, your next fish could be an absolute toad. So that's fun. It's a great time of year to get them. Drop shot is always going to probably get the most fish. Another really cool way to catch a lot of big fish this time of year is just a big straight tail worm. This right here is a 7-inch Berkeley bottom hopper, but it's a bigger version. It's the fatty bottom hopper. And you can see this worm's got a lot of meat to it. I throw it on a Magnum shaky head. So when I'm talking about a Magnum, you know, you think about shaky head fishing, you're typically going to be throwing like a spinning rod with a 3/16 or a 1/4 ounce weight. I'm going bait caster, basically a jig rod, 15, 17 pound fluorocarbon, 3/8 ounce shaky head with a big hook on it. And that's typically how I'm going to throw that thing and just fish it just like I fish a jig. Cast it out on those structure areas, whether it's a point or a hump or, you know, whatever type of structure, but typically flatter structure. This isn't something I'm going to fish the walls with. I like to use the drop shot on the walls. I'm going to fish this thing on the more flat type structure, cast it out and drag it, just like you're fishing a jig. And a jig works this time of year really well. I just lean towards this thing right here. For whatever reason, I feel like that worm gets more bites in the summertime. A bigger worm gets more bites than a jig in the summertime. It's more of a bait fish profile than a crawfish profile. And I love throwing a big worm. This is green pumpkin. It's kind of the color that I throw a lot. I'll throw a red bug or something when the water gets a little bit dirtier, but green pumpkin is, it works really, really well. And it doesn't matter, Saguaro, Canyon, Apache, Roosevelt. This thing on a big jig head is a really good way to get those bigger bites. The drop shot's awesome. I do a ton of drop shotting. In my previous video, we drop shotted through the whole video. But if you're one of those guys that doesn't love to drop shot, or you just want to mix something else in, that big bottom hopper is a good way to do it. It's a really popular technique on the Tennessee River. I learned it fishing Lake Chickamauga and Gunnersville and Kentucky Lake back in the day. That's kind of like one of their go-to baits, fishing their ledges in the summertime. It works really well here. I did a video last year on Roosevelt where I caught a really big one on that bottom hopper. You might have seen that video. So anyways, it's a great bait this time of year. Another really good way to catch them if you're trying to fish slow is just an old school 10-inch worm. This is a Berkeley power worm. This is the plum color that I'm talking about when the water gets a little bit dingier. I throw this thing on a Texas rig, 3/8 ounce weight, 5/0 hook, and 15 or 17 pound test line. And as far as like how you're going to look for and find these fish on those lakes, if you're fishing the lower Salt River, I really think, you know, I don't even mess with top water early in the morning right now. I just go straight to fishing slow. And the fish are everywhere. It's really cool. Like a lot of times the fish on these lakes are going to be in really specific areas. Not the whole lake's fishing good. The whole lakes are fishing good, and I'm not even exaggerating. If you want to fish the flats, you know, fish near the drop-offs. If you want to fish the 45-degree banks, they're on those, and they're on the walls too. I'm not kidding. The fish are, you know, to me, it's more about having the right technique, which is this is almost never the scenario. It's always about where you're at, and not as much as about what you're using. But right now, I'm not kidding. Those fish seem to be spread out everywhere. You can fish a flat, then you can fish a 45-degree bank, and then you can fish a bluff and catch fish on all three, as long as you're fishing slow. So get those worms and go drag them around, and you'll catch some fish right now, I promise. Now, if you're going to Bartlett or Pleasant, topwater action, it's a great time of year for that. Early in the morning, be throwing it like a walking bait or a popper. I talked about the cane walker a little bit last week. I'm going to give one of these away too. So all these baits, like I said, are going to be given away. So giving away bottom hoppers, 10-inch worms, a cane walker, and a crankbait at the end of this video. But this cane walker right here, that chrome color, it's a really sneaky good color here in Arizona in the clear water with sunny skies. So if you want to throw top water, Bartlett and Pleasant are really good options. They've been, you know, fairly consistent in the summertime. You want to get out there early, you know, get out there early, throw top water. You know, if you're lucky enough to see fish chasing bait, which you will at both lakes this time of year, obviously that's something you're going to go to. If you see birds or fish blowing up on bait, do that. Otherwise, just be covering a lot of water, running down the bank. it's one of the funnest times of year to catch fish. But again, once that sun gets high, if you're after the largemouth at Pleasant, you got to get down deep. Fish the drop shot, the main lake points, main lake humps, islands, stuff like that. You're going to be able to catch fish doing that. Also, there are some walls that you can fish on that lake. I talk about the walls a lot at Saguaro and Canyon. You can get on the walls at Pleasant and catch fish on a drop shot that way too. The water's a lot clearer in Pleasant. So like the big worms, like you could catch a bass on a 10-inch worm there during the day, but you're going to catch a lot more on a drop shot. The water's that much clearer. You're going to have to finesse that much more. That's why I really kind of don't suggest throwing that big worm there as much as like maybe some of the other lakes. So it's just clear. You got to finesse them a little bit more. When you're fishing topwater at a lake like Pleasant, it's so clear, fish it faster, right? There's no teasing the fish into biting. You're trying to just fish it fast and, make them think it's real, trick them, make them react to it rather than, a slow tease. The water's clear. You got to fish natural or fast. Those are the keys in that ultra clear water. Now, if you're going to Roosevelt, it's been really hit or miss. I had one day I went up there last month and it was way slower than I expected. I went in the morning and it was really tough. Now I've had some buddies that have been catching them pretty good one evening, and then the next evening's really slow. Then they catch them really good the next time, and then the next time's really slow. So it's hit or miss. It's always worth the trip up there. I love going up there, but topwater bite wasn't what I was expecting when I got up there last time. It'll get better soon. Like I talked about it recently, how, in my opinion, the water right now is as hot as it's going to be all summer long, right? And when in August, that's not going to change. It's going to be hot. And then when you hit September, things start to drop. The shad move back into the coves, but that's not going to happen in August. Can you go catch a topwater fish on that lake at the right place at the right time? Yes. It's going to get better in September, though. It's going to be, if you're going to try just at first light or at dusk. But it seems like a lot of the fish are out a little bit deeper. And, just from talking to buddies that have been up there, topwater's not been the main deal up there in late July as we roll into August. So if anyone does get up there and catch them on topwater, drop me a message. I'd be interested in that. But like I said, I was disappointed in it last time I went up there. But it'll be here soon. Every lake's different. Like I said, if I was going to Pleasant or Bartlett, topwater would be high on my list. But Roosevelt, I was disappointed in it. If I was going to Roosevelt right now, I would go straight to the deeper structure. I would fish, 10-inch worms, that bottom hopper, a crankbait, your typical big structure baits like that. Those are going to be catching the bulk of the fish. But I was bummed out that the topwater wasn't better last time we were there. And that's kind of covers the central Arizona lakes. If you're a river fisherman, it's dreadfully hot down on the Colorado River, whether you're fishing down in Yuma or near Havasu or something like that. But if you are fishing over there, current's the king this time of year. It's so hot. If you can be around the current, whether that's fishing up the river or on the main lake where you do have some current, that's going to help you out quite a bit. But I haven't been out there myself this summer at all. So I don't want to go too deep into that because, again, I would just be guessing. I don't have any firsthand, hey, this is what's been going on out there. So I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. But anyways, I talked about the giveaway. To keep it simple, I'm going to randomly select someone who makes a comment on this video and has subscribed to the channel. So if you can, just drop a comment below. You could it doesn't have to be anything special. You could just say, hey Josh, what's up? Or you could tell me, hey, I'd like to hear, I'd like more videos about this or that or whatever. You could tell me I suck at fishing, whatever. But drop a comment below. And if you've subscribed to the channel, I'm going to, if I pick you and you've subscribed to the channel, I'll send you the baits this week. So it's not a huge giveaway. I'm going to start doing more of these, and I'm going to give away some really cool stuff moving forward. But just to get started, I figured, hey, we're talking about these baits. We're going to give these away. So comment below, subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe now, because if I pick your name and you're not subscribed, I'm going to have to give it to someone else. So that's how I'm getting you guys to subscribe. But anyways, I appreciate it big time. My dog is back outside barking. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all around here over the next couple weeks fishing.